like writing, I'm assuming.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've written a Bigfoot article, a
Right.
ghost hunting article.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, there's a
I'm
picture
a journalist
of me.
now.
There's a
Queen
pic-
Mary.
Yeah. And you had an idea for a story, and so tell
Okay,
us about this. Tell us about this book.
So I'm in church, and I am watching a lady that we had dinner with one night, and she was saying I used to be 5'2", eyes of blue, and apparently she was quite a looker. And she's now very elderly, and she's just really struggling to get to her seat. And I'm just watching her, and I'm trying to imagine her being 5'2", eyes of blue, and and I'm really looking at her, thinking, well, what would it be like if she was like that? And then I'm starting to look at everybody, and I'm trying to imagine everyone. Well, what would it be like if everyone was like that? And I just started playing with the idea in my head. And I thought, well, that'd be kind of an interesting story because it would change everything. It would change how you are individually, it change families, it would change culturally, globally, everything. Everything would change with that. So what I did was I couldn't figure out how to make that happen. I couldn't figure out, well, how would you write a story where everyone is the same age? You need a catalyst to make that happen. And so what I do is I read the books that my kids are reading in school so that I can discuss them with them. And my older son, RJ, was reading the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Oh, wow.
Which was the...
From school?
Yes.
Like doing that in school?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was the first fictional story that's been discovered. It was written on tablets, and they didn't find all the tablets. So they've
What if
written...
it's not fictional?
Exactly. So somehow I knew
You know what?
would say
Elizabeth
that.
actually said that about. I mean, she like hit it right on the head. She actually said, "Well, continue on."
Okay, so I'm reading it, and at the kind of towards the end of it, it has this comment about if you go into the river and you find the thorny plant and you cut your hand on it, you will receive the youth that you're looking for. And I just thought, oh my gosh, that's it. That's how I can make it happen. So I just went from there. Once I had that, it all just clicked into place. And so the main character is Gil for Gilgamesh, and he's on the Siddhartha, that book from Hermann Hesse about the Siddhartha's always searching for the truth, and so I thought that was an appropriate name for his boat. And he's a treasure hunter in the ocean, and he cuts his hand on a plant in the ocean, and he's rejuvenated to 27. So he's trying to figure out how did that happen. He's trying to hide it. He realizes he's a treasure hunter, and he's just found like the treasure of all time, so he's trying to deal with that. Of course, then word gets out, and then people are trying to get it, so there's this whole villain who's after it. He's billionaire, and he's the little guy, and so he's trying to fight the odds, and so the story goes through. It's in 3 different sections. The first section is really what happens individually to people as that happens. His dad does it. Well, his dad is kind of faded off into the sunset, and is kind of ready to die and everything, and he talks his dad into doing it, so his dad starts changing, and it kind of just talks about mentally, like he gets jumped and he doesn't fight back, and it's because mentally he's still thinking that he was the age he was. And so we kind of play with that, mentally, getting used to being back at an age that you used to be.
Because you're like all frail now,
right? In
your mind, because you're frail. Right?
Exactly. So I play a lot with that as
fun.
This whole chase is going on. So that's book 1, is the individual things that happen, relationships that happen, and then book 2 is and it's all within one book.
One book,
right? So the second section is more what happens globally, because it changes everything. What happens? Your athletes don't leave. So, and you have all these new athletes coming. So what happens? Do you have 2 leagues? Do you have a league that's transformed and a league that's not? I mean, so it plays with all these different things that would happen. Politicians don't leave. Business people don't leave. So there's not this natural way that things are.
So then it would kind of go back to like pre-flood, where everybody lived like 900 years or something, and
except there's a lot more of us now, right? And so then it kind of talks about, well, governments want to regulate it, and how, you're trying to avoid government regulation, and it just plays with all the cultural things, the global things. And again, there's this villain, William S. Bates, the billionaire, who's like in there causing trouble, and there's chases and kidnappings and things like that. And then the final section is the story retold from the villain's point of view. And then you kind of get him, and you realize, what? Everything you kind of thought is upside down, and it just twists everything. So it was really fun to write, but it just hopefully makes the reader think about how do you feel about yourself, and how do you
want to go back the way you were?
Well, and so and that it talks about that in the book. That some people didn't want to go back. I mean, how weird would it be? Your grandmother looks the same age as you, and how does that affect the family dynamics? And so I just thought it would be fun, and then it would leave the reader with something that they would think about going forward. Well, that would be interesting. And
you'd have your grandpa stealing your girlfriend.
Seriously. Go out partying with her,
Wasn't there a Twilight Zone episode where...
Kick the can.
Kick the can,
yes.
Yes, I remember that.
Yep.
That was a cool episode.
Yep. And they ended up being children.
Yeah.
They were
children. Yeah. And everybody didn't want to go, but the older gentleman is the only one who went
only
back.
The adventure decided to stay.
Yeah, the player, I think he was.
Yeah.
And that was a long time ago, but I still remember that. That's Fountain of Youth, right?
Right.
I mean, the Bible talks about it, right?
Yeah, and then there's the alchemist with the they say they can turn the gold into a white powder, and that's what the aliens are after, to turn it into so that they can live forever type thing.
I haven't heard about aliens. We have no aliens or Bigfoot in this book.
Yeah, well, I think it's time to change that. Second book.
Maybe the next one, yeah.
The light, the aliens are looking for the Fountain of Youth in Fresno.
Oh, there is a spaceship, though. We do have a spaceship in there.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
That's
You'll have to read the
funny.
book to find out how I placed it, but... Yeah,
Cool.
no, it's super fun to write and think about, and then you're kind of like, you're in the bank and you're standing in line and you're looking at all the people and you're trying to come up with scenarios. So it was fun. It was in my head for a couple of years before I was able to get it on paper, and then I gave it to Robert because he wanted it for his birthday. He's trying to give me this deadline, right? Because it's like okay, I like it for my birthday, so that was my deadline, and I did it. It was his birthday present.
Now 27.
Because that's about the age that they estimate the body is transformed to.
Got it.
Yeah, that's weird because when you go and you talk about people that near death experience, people that go and they see their relatives on the other side, they're always around 27 or 30 or they're mid-30s.
And I came up with 27. It's kind of funny. This is another Danny thing. It's like
Danny, knock it off.
Seriously, get out of my head. No, when we were on the Queen Mary, he had made a comment. Some famous person died, and she was 27. And he made this comment that there were a lot of famous people who die at 27. And so I think that's probably where
Not all the drugs and the partying right there.
Jimi Hendrix, and who was it that died when we were on the Queen Mary? It was a singer.
Danny running over somebody or what?
Now we know where he's stashing him, right? The Queen Mary.
Danny.
Run him over, boom, go stash him with Queen Mary.
Oh, jeez.
But the book's,
Sorry, Danny.
The book's available on
I had to do it.
Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
Okay.
It's available.
Now, I think we got a couple books we're going to give away. We'll give.
I know, right?
So we'll give them away a
Where's
little
the
bit later.
irony there? Since we have got to, the Polyacks have got to be like one of the all-time winningest book.
No kidding.
On your show.
Yes.
So we won't be vying for this one.
You guys are all here, thank God. So we're not.
Got the kid at home.
Don't call in yet, guys. But let me give you the number. The
Michael,
number
do not
is
call in.
yeah, Michael, knock it off. RJ, stop it. The number to call in, not now, but I'm gonna give you the number anyway. Area code 559-287-8367. 559-287-8367. The last four numbers represent in letters UFOS. That is my top secret paranormal hotline, which I just gave it out. So program it in your cell phone, and don't call yet. We'll tell you when to call. Okay. All right. Let's see. Ghost, UFOs, Bigfoot. What else? I mean,
we went ghost hunting.
You went ghost hunting. Now that was here in Selma,
in Kingsburg, in the country, out in the country. I did it to write an article. I wanted to know about ghost hunting, so Robert and I went. Danny came with us.
Oh, figures.
And we had a Kingsburg ghost hunter that took us to a place. He had the place.
Okay.
It was like an old country house.
It was an old country house, and his family used to live in the house, and the mom drove us out there, and she got spooked and had to leave, so she left us there. I got to go off on the side note though, is Danny had more equipment than the ghost hunter.
Did he really?
That's funny.
He did.
That's because Danny's a hunter.
Danny, let me tell you,
Has
I
the
can see his
stuff.
GoPro and his EMF and his camera,
He did,
right?
absolutely.
He was all connected. Freaking Danny, man.
But anyhow, so the people who live there now, they only speak Spanish, but they were telling us there's a ghost in the trailer house. There's the ghost in the living room. There's the ghost, there's all these ghosts that they see, and that they'll throw things at them, and that it's a little bit violent, but they stay there. And then they left. So literally, these people left us in their house, and it's dark. And
Where's the safe?
yeah. So the stories were really scary that they had told prior, but I mean, it was again one of those situations where it's like, how did I get here? You're in this house and it's late at night,
And everybody left.
everybody left, but
You're safe with Danny, though. Believe me. No.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
He'll
well,
see it coming.
well, we're asking the ghost questions, and the ghost hunter had this piece of equipment that supposedly the ghost can talk
through it.
I know you guys know what it's
Or the
called.
voice
I know
box
a voice
thing.
box. Yeah, there
But
you go.
anyhow, so we were asking about going to the trailer, and so should Jolene go to the trailer? There's no comment. Should Robert go to the trailer? There's no comment. Should Danny go to the trailer? And it goes zzz, and it's making this sound like for Danny. So then we go back through and do it again, and again, only one it makes a sound for is Danny.
Well, Danny was so electric, had so much electronics on him. Probably
They
he got
liked him.
closer and he activated. Yeah.
So all the rest of us refused to go with Danny because now we're all scared except for Robert. Robert's like, oh, I'll go with you, I guess.
As long as Danny's not driving the big truck, I think we'll be okay.
So I'm the ghost hunter. I'm refusing to hunt the ghost. I really don't want to see one. So those two went in there. I think at one point Danny felt like something might have brushed his shoulder, but that was it. There was no inexperience. But I mean, honestly, you're just out there and it's scary. So I wrote this article, and then I started getting calls from people with their ghost stories because now I'm the ghost story expert, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though I've just done this one article on it, and some of the stories were just hecka scary. I mean, this one woman was talking. She thought it was her house, which it was not her house. But she said that they were renting it, and that the owner was bringing in equipment from the gold panning era, and bringing it and just setting it on this is all in the country, setting it on the property, and that as he's bringing this stuff in, strange and stranger things are happening. Like she would walk past the equipment and something would grab her leg, or it would call her name, and they were just getting all these weird things. And then they started sleeping in the living room together because they were afraid.
Right.
And then they fled in the middle of the night because the daughter was being dragged by an invisible force across the living room in the middle of the night. So they grabbed her, they got in the car, and they left. And they didn't even go back for their stuff or anything.
Wow.
And so, yeah, and this is like in the country in Kingsburg. So these are the kind of stories I'm getting. It's like, really, I could have lived a long time and not known